Good evening everyone. This is Epitha from Thandai Periyar Government Institute of Technology, Vellore, Department of ECE. In this video lecture, we will be discussing about the subject wireless networks. This is the outline of the presentation: mobile ad hoc networks, routing, DSDV, characteristics of MANET, pros and cons. What is mobile ad hoc networks? MANET. In short, it stands for Mobile Ad Hoc Network, also called a wireless ad hoc network or ad hoc wireless network, that usually has a routable networking environment on top of a link layer ad hoc network. This MANET, it may operate on a stand-alone fashion, or they can be a part of larger internet. They form a highly dynamic autonomous topology with the presence of one or more different transceivers between the nodes. This mobile ad hoc network, they can be used in road safety, ranging from sensors for the environment, home, health, disaster rescue operations, airbase, land, navy defense, weapons, robots, and etc. So these are the various real-time applications of the mobile ad hoc networks. Moving on to the MANET and mobile IP. Okay, so why do we go for this mobile ad hoc network? What is the reason behind the mobile ad hoc network? The mobile IP, it requires some home agent and tunnels, whereas the DHCP, it requires the servers and broadcast capabilities of the medium reaching all the participants, whereas the cellular phone network, they require base station and infrastructure network. However, there may be several situations where users of a network, they cannot rely on infrastructure because it is too expensive. In these situations, these mobile ad hoc network are the only choice. Okay, so this is the reason for using the mobile ad hoc network. At the same time, this mobile ad hoc network, it is also said to be the multi-hop network because it does not require any fixed infrastructure. This is the diagrammatic representation of MANET and mobile IP. It consists of the mobile router, the mobile devices, and the fixed network. Over the last few decades, this ad hoc networking, it has attracted a lot of research interest. This has led to the creation of working group on mobile ad hoc networking called MANET. This figure, it shows the relation of MANET to mobile IP and DHCP. While mobile IP and DHCP handle the connection of mobile devices to a fixed infrastructure, IP and DHCP handle the connection of mobile devices to a fixed infrastructure. This MANET, it comprises of the mobile router too. The mobile devices can be connected either directly with an infrastructure using mobile IP for mobility support and DHCP as a source of many parameters. And the reason to use this MANET and mobile IP is of instant infrastructure, disaster relief. It can be used in remote areas, and it is of quite high effectiveness. So these are the few reasons for using the mobile ad hoc network. Moving on to the routing. So routing, it is the process of selecting paths in a network along which to send the data packets. An ad hoc routing protocol, it is a convention or standard. It controls how the nodes decide in which way to route the packets between the computing devices in a mobile and ad hoc network. So while in wireless networks with infrastructure support to base station always reaches all mobile nodes, it is not in the case of the ad hoc network. So a destination node, it might be out of range of a source node transmitting the packets. So routing is needed. It is needed because to find a path between source and destination and to forward the packets appropriately, we need this routing methodology. Whereas in wireless networks, It uses an infrastructure as we have discussed earlier. The cells have been defined. Within a cell, the base station can reach all the mobile nodes, and it must be able to forward data to other nodes as well. So this figure, it gives a simple example of an ad hoc network. At certain time t1, okay, the network topology, it might look as illustrated on the left side of the figure. It has the 5 nodes that is being represented from n1 to n5. They are connected depending upon the current transmission characteristics between them. In this, the n4 can receive n1 over a good link, but the n1 receives n4 via weak link. So the good link and weak link, it is being represented over here. Okay, so this link, it do not necessarily have the same characteristics in both the directions. As we see, from n1 to n4, from n4 to n1, it is being represented with the help of good link and weak link, and these both link, they do not have the same characteristics. They do not share the same characteristics in both the directions. So the reason for this is the different antenna characteristics or transmit power. So the n1 cannot receive n2 at all. So the n2 receives a signal from n1. So this situation can change quite fast as the snapshot at time interval t2. So n1 cannot receive n4 any longer. So this n4 receives n1 via weak link, but now this n1 has an asymmetric and bidirectional link to n2, which does not exist before. Okay, so this is the simple concept behind the example of the ad hoc network. Moving on to the destination sequence distance vector, that is in short DSDV. So this distance vector routing, it is used as a routing information protocol in wired networks, and this consists of two things to the distance vector algorithm. One is the sequence number, the other one is the damping. The sequence number is nothing but it consists of routing advertisement comes with the sequence number, whereas damping is nothing but the transient changes in topology that are of short duration. It should not destabilize the routing algorithm. So these are the two things that adds to the DSDV distance vector algorithm. Next one is the dynamic source routing. So the dynamic source routing is a DSR. It is on demand protocol designed to restrict the bandwidth consumed by control packets in ad hoc wireless network by eliminating some periodic table update messages required in the table driven approach. So this is the DSR table. Before moving on to the DSR table, we'll just categorize the division of the task of routing into two separate problems. One is the route discovery, the other one is the route maintenance. So the route discovery is a node only tries to discover a route to a destination if it has to send something. I repeat, a node only tries to discover a route to a destination if it has to send something to this destination. Whereas the route maintenance, it is a node which is continuously sending packets via route. It has to make sure that all the route is held upright. So moving on to the DSR table, we have destination, next hop, metric, sequence number and install time. So here we have the nodes. We have various nodes. The node n1, it broadcasts the request and with the ID of 42 with the target to reach n3. Okay, so the n2 and n4 receive this request. Then further in repeat, the n2 then broadcast the nodes with appropriate n1 and n2 with the ID of 42 with the target of n3, and the same broadcast of n1 n4 with the ID number as 42 with the target as n3. Okay, so the same process, the n3 and n5 receive n2's broadcast. So n1, n2, n5 receives n4's broadcast. So this is the simultaneous process regarding this DSR. This is the simultaneous process regarding this DSR table. Next, moving on to the least interference routing. So this least interference routing, it is the other metric, and it takes a possible interference into account. This figure, it shows the ad hoc network topology. The sender S1, okay, though the sender S1 wants to send a packet to the receiver R1, okay, so the sender S1, he wants to send a packet to the receiver R1, okay. So the S2 to R2, S1 needs to send to R1 and S2 needs to send to R2 using the hop count as metric. Okay, so using the hop count as metric, S1, it could choose the 3 different paths with 3 hops, which is also the minimum. So the possible paths are S1, N3, N4, S1, N3, N4 and R1. So this is one possible path. Then next one is S1, N3, N2 and R1. Okay, so the next possible is S1, N1, N2 and R1. So these are the 3 possible hops. Okay, so the S2 would choose the only available path with only 3 hops. Okay, that is S2 to N5, N5 to N6 and N6 to R2. Okay, so the taking interference into account, this picture changes. So in order to calculate the possible interference path of each node, it calculates its possible interference as the number of neighbors that can overhear a transmission. So every node, it needs only local information to compute its interference. Okay, so this is the thing. And this metric is the metric which takes the possible interference into account. So that is the main thing in the least interference routing. Next one is the hierarchies in the ad hoc network. Okay, so there are various hierarchies. As we see, it is a supercluster, a cluster, internet. So the cluster head gateway switch routing, it is a typical representative of hierarchical routing algorithm based on the distance vector routing. So comparing to the distance vector protocol, this hierarchy, okay, it helps to reduce the routing tables. It helps to reduce the routing tables tremendously. However, it might be very difficult to maintain the cluster structure in a highly mobile environment. So in a highly mobile environment, it is very difficult to maintain the cluster structure. An algorithm based on this, the link state principle, is the hierarchical state routing. So these are the characteristics of MANET. It is for dynamic topologies. It is bandwidth constrained, variable capacity links and autonomous behavior. It is energy constraint operation. It is energy constraint operation in the sense it is being characterized by the less memory, less power and less lightweight features, and it is of a limited security, and less human intervention is required in the MANET. So the advantages and disadvantages is the separation from central network administration is one of the greatest advantage in MANET. So each node, they can play both the roles, that is a router and host, showing the autonomous nature, and self-configuring and self-healing nodes do not require any human intervention, which is already being discussed. And cons, the resources are limited due to various constraints like noise, interference and condition, the lack of authorization facilities, and it is being more prone to the attacks due to the limited physical security. So these are the things related to mobile ad hoc networks. Thank you.